Here we have Balrog, 1000 health, 1000 stun. Just open V-frames, it's got it in front of me. His walk speed is pretty good. I don't know how it compares to the rest of the cast, but it feels fast. His jump is kind of high and not very far. It feels very normal. It might be a bit short compared to other jumps. He has absolutely no cross-up, and his other ways of movement aren't particularly special. I think his backdash moves kind of far, but it has kind of long duration. His forward dash is quick. That usually doesn't matter that much, though. And then no other particulars about his movement, excluding some movement options of his special moves, but we'll talk about them. Throw range, I don't know. I don't even know why I bring up throw range. I don't know how it compares to everyone else. It looks okay. It's mostly just his foot speed is really good, which makes his ability to frame trap into throws pretty nice. Okay, normals. There's actually he's got a lot of things to consider with his normals. Technically speaking, stand jab is the most plus on hit of all of his normals, of all his light normals. So if you can help it, if you're gonna start like a really quick punish, if something's -4 and you want the most damage you can get out of it, stand jab is usually the preferred starter because that actually gives you a link into a medium normal, which no other combo using his light normals will do that. And that's pretty nice for like combos like oh yeah, button press and attack display. Thank you for getting me early on with that one. Let me also turn off stun. That's pretty useful for combos. Like that'll get you a knockdown, and that's most of his other light normal combos won't get you a knockdown. So that's like a nice little thing. That would be like a go-to. That would probably be his best one. Sand jab is not as good. It doesn't go as far and it's not as plus, but it's still good. It's only +5 on hit and it's only +2 on block. They really scaled it back. It was something ridiculous last game. But you can't crouch it now, which is nice. But anyway, the fact that it's +5 means you can do a link into Stand Strong, which is his fastest medium normal. And that link is kind of useful. It's not like crazy useful, but it's good. It's worth going for. The scenarios where you'd use that over his other light normal combos are, I mean, it depends. Stand light kick is 3 frames, which is his only 3-frame normal. Unfortunately, the frame dead on it is utter crap. It's only +2, which means it combos into absolutely nothing. It does have a target combo associated with it. I'll talk about all his target combos in turn, but just to show this one off right now, it's short forward roundhouse, light kick, medium kick, hard kick. And that's really useful because that's like the fastest thing he can link into if you need something really fast to link into. That would probably be one of the go-tos he has. It also knocks down. The damage isn't too good, but the knockdown is nice, and the fact that it starts from a 3-frame normal is pretty nice. And just for the record, if he gets a counter hit on the stand short, because it's +2, it goes to +4, so he can then do something like that. Would be a good example. Short into short forward roundhouse. A more practical one would maybe be, that works, right? Yeah. Something like that. I don't know. It depends. He can't link into any medium normals from it, though. Not even on counter hit. But this is a 3-frame normal, which makes it technically the best at breaking the opponent's pressure, like getting a counter poke in between normals. That being said, its range is pretty piddly compared to his other light normals, so it's definitely outclassed in nearly every other way but its speed. Crouch jab is very general purpose. It's technically, there's a little way that it's worse and a little way that it's better than stand jab. They're almost interchangeable. They have very similar range too. I think stand jab goes a smidge farther. It might be like the same. Yeah, there you go. Stand jab goes a smidge farther. For one thing, crouch jab keeps your charge more efficiently. You can't like walk back and forth and like, well, stand jab and then, I don't know. It's more, you keep a down charge with this. So if you're like just doing this, like forcing the opponent to block it, you still got your reversal or whatever. You still got but all of your dash punches and all of your other things stocked. That's not usually a huge difference. A more important difference is, even though it's only +4, it's +2 on block just like stand jab. So on block, they're like the same. But this is only +4, so you can't link into stand medium punch. That's the thing you lose. But it's actually a little bit more plus to cancel because it's got more recovery, but you don't do the recovery if you cancel it. So it's more plus, but it has more hit stun, but more recovery, basically. So you can't do, let's say, stand jab into medium dash punch. That doesn't work. It's not fast enough. But you can do crouch jab into medium dash punch because there's an extra little bit of, there's probably like 1 extra frame of hit stun, and that 1 extra frame matters in this case. So you can go into, I think that is actually a little bit more damaging than the, no, link to tar combo is still better. So maybe always do that. That loses the ability to super cancel though. So it depends on what kind of resources you're trying to spend. Or like if you're trying to spend an EX, it's a lot better to go through um the not use the target combo. That being said, if you're going into EX, it doesn't really matter whether you're doing a standard crouch jab. So it's very specific. It usually won't matter, but technically speaking, his optimal combo to super, for example, this is a scenario where it would matter a little bit. His optimal combo to super from a like crouch jab will do a little bit more damage than a stand jab. Well, it depends if you've got the link, because you can also go for the link to increase your damage even further. It's very specific. This is a good example of like a scenario where it would matter. Okay, let's talk about his crouch short. It's his low. Like it's the only low of all those light normals, and like every other crouch short in the game, it sets up combos with his like it's the only low that he can practically combo out of in most instances. So it's +4, I think, on hit, and then like +1 on block or something like that. Let me find the exact number. Yeah, that's all right. A little bit lower damage. Seems like every crouch short in the game does 20. Because this is only +4, you can only go into light normals from it. If you went into stand jab, you're actually too far for the stand strong by that point, which negates the purpose of stand jab. So after a low short, like low jab would be preferred to get medium dash punch to do a little bit more damage than the light dash punch from the standing one, especially if you're going into super. That being said, that's all incredibly specific because 90% of the time what you're going to be doing is probably crouch short and then the kick target combo. This is like, that's like what Balrog does in this game most of the time. The only thing about that is there's no way to convert it. You can't use EX and you can't use super. You've just got to do like what you see there. That's like the full combo. So if you want to do your proper conversions, you'd probably be doing something like those, or like something like that. No way to lead to a knockdown unless you use EX though. So this is like preferred because it does pretty nice damage and leads to a knockdown. And you know, most of the time people do meterless combos if they can help it. It depends on the scenario. If they're trying to save super or whatever, that doesn't add a whole bunch of damage to use EX. Anyway, you got low with crouch short, and that links into any of his other light normals. You've got crouch jab and stand jab, which are 99% interchangeable and lead to most of his like metered and special move, more traditional combos. And then you've got stand short, which is really fast and also leads to a start combo. It's like his light normals in a nutshell. Let's see here. So medium punch is his go-to anti-air. It's an okay normal anyway because it comes out really quickly for a medium normal. But the range is extremely mediocre, so a lot of the time it would be a really nice normal to link into if it would hit, but it doesn't. Randolph, what are you doing here? I haven't talked to you in forever. Not since the last time. No, Urian's out tomorrow. Anyway, the range is kind of bad, so you can't really use it that much for linking, but you can use it for linking here and there. That's the example I brought up. That's probably the best example. There's pretty much nothing besides that. Well, there's that. That's like the main one. That's the actual main one. Anyway, the range is kind of bad, but the hitbox is really good, and the damage is okay, and it links into pretty much everything he generally goes into. Up to medium dash punch and up to light low dash punch. I don't think it combos into turnaround punch at all. Most things don't. Let me turn him onto guard after first attack. Now let's see here. It's a super good anti-air. Let me show it off. Proof of concept. Is it 3? I always forget. Jump in on me. That's not a jump in at all. There it is. I got a counter hit. It's really tall, so it's easy to get counter hits, which isn't that bad. It's okay to get counter hits. I did it too late. It will win clean even if the opponent gets their hitbox out in time. It's like a pretty good normal. It comes out really quick, 5 frames, and it works from surprisingly close and surprisingly far. It's okay to get the counter hit. Counter hit's technically more damage. I just want to show it winning clean. You can get it from like here. As long as you do it nice and early, you can get like really close jumps with it. Like up to about this close, I think. Maybe not that close. I'm trying to push the limit. Right about here, I think. But you've got to do it kind of early. There you go. That's like as close as it still works. And it also works from pretty far away. It's pretty good normal. It's definitely his best anti-air. He has a couple others he can use, but that's the one that you usually want to be defaulting to. Stay medium punch. Really good to get out. Just, you know, always be ready for it. Yeah, it's a lot like Kimmy's back medium punch, both in speed and hitbox. That also means it's kind of narrow if the opponent jumps in and like empty jumps. Like if Ryu jumped in from here and didn't do jump hard kick, I wouldn't hit him, and he would be able to like land and sweep as I'm doing this move. And people don't usually do that, but it's important to be aware of that you're relying on your opponent hitting a button to anti-air from this far out. But if you're like this close, you'll be anti-airing them just clean every time. No downside. Your recovery's pretty good too. You might be able. There's some shenanigans with that. Just proof of concept. You can get like a dash punch. Not what is it? A dash KKB maybe? I don't remember. That was definitely not what I wanted to do. It was most of what I wanted to do. There's some silly things you can do with it. Yeah, something like that, for example. You can get some cross unders. You can actually just like use it and then dash, and that can get you some tricky stuff. You don't need any fancy cancel business. Medium kick. This button's pretty interesting. It's pretty fast, and it's really plus on block. It's 6 frame startup, and it's +2 on block and +5 on hit, which means it's very link friendly. I think it's too far, yeah, to work into stand medium kick or stand medium punch. That might work on crouch, because most people are wider when they crouch. You'll never see that combo in a real match, but it's kind of neat that it works. But more practically, you can go into jab from it, or like, the kick tower combo, which makes it rather good to start a confirmed combo. That's like absolutely point blank only. Jab will work from kind of far out though, or at least not point blank. Yeah, like light kick would never hit from that. Okay, it hit from there. Light kick's bigger than I'm giving it credit for, but there are ranges where you can hit jab and it'll work, and maybe not. About the same. That might have been a combo where jab would have worked. Whatever. It starts combos. You can use it as your hit confirm. It's one of 2 like normals he can easily hit confirm out of that's not a light. So it's kind of useful for that. It also is associated with a tower combo of its own. It's a medium kick, medium punch, and then KKB punch or KKB kick. It doesn't terribly matter. KKB is his V skill. I think most people like the kick version because the knockdown is a bit more useful. I'm not actually sure about that. That's a really useful tower combo though, because it starts off a really fast normal and it doesn't require any sort of charge, which means you can use it as your go-to punish, or you can use it in scenarios where you pretty much can't have charge. And I'll talk more about that when I talk about his crush counters, because that's a really common scenario to use that. But it's pretty good anyway. His max damage punishes don't start with that, but you're never really that bad to use that. What else does it do? It cancels, so you can use it as an empty cancel. It's got a lot of active frames. I think 3, which is, a decent number. And if you manage to counterpoke someone with it, you can just empty cancel it into like moves, and it'll combo into stuff. It is worth noting that when you empty cancel with a charge character, you're actually sacrificing charge. So like if I do just like stay medium kick and cancel into medium dash punch from here, if they don't hit something and I don't counter hit anything, I'm just going to be losing my charge for no reason. But if I do counter hit something, I'm going to be getting that, and it's kind of good. Or like more realistically, probably that, get the knockdown. And if you get a counter hit, if you actually get a counter hit, I think you can go into like heavier versions of that was like dash medium low. So that would be pretty good because it travels really far. So if you're hitting a poke, I might have a poke recorded, but I don't really want to try counter poking anything. But this is probably like one of his best counter pokes. I would tentatively say it's his best. Let's see here. Crouch medium punch is his farthest range cancel, I'm pretty sure, which makes it pretty useful. If you're like really far away, you can do stuff like if you're like getting non-point blank punishes, or if you're like linking to it, stuff like that. You would go for that just because it goes really, really far and you can still cancel it. So it's like, the biggest conversions you can usually get. It's always important to know your character's farthest range cancel. That's why like Ryu crouch medium kick in like games of old. I don't know if it's still his farthest cancel. It might be crouch strong now. But like that's why Shoto low medium kick is so famous, is because it's their farthest range cancel and it cancels from a lot farther than most of their other normals. That sort of thing is just important though, and Balrog's is low strong. It was like that in Street Fighter 4 as well. You can use it as a counter poke. I don't think the frame data on it is that good. It's 0 on block, +1 on hit. The damage is okay, and the speed is good at 6 frames. So it's not a bad normal by any means. It's like a great normal, but it's mostly just used as a combo tool and a counter poke. And it's a pretty good counter poke, and it's a pretty good combo tool. You can frame trap into it too, I guess, but it doesn't lead to anything, so you'd be better off frame trapping into stand medium kick. or something else. I don't know. I don't have that much to say about Crouch Strong. Crouch Medium Kick is pretty interesting. That's a pretty sick counter poke. I think it goes a little further than Crouch Strong, or it feels like it does. Yeah, there you go. It like feels like a really nice little poke. It's not a low, I think. Yeah, it says attack level high. A lot of people mistake this for a low because it's a crouching kick, and it has a tar combo associated with it. That's two of them: crouch medium kick, and the second one's a low. But the first one isn't. The first one's just a kind of regular ass poke. I don't think it does anything. I don't think you can do anything from it. It doesn't cancel, and I think it has crap frame data. You can't link out of it or anything. On hit, it's actually +2, so I guess you could technically get a counter hit combo out of it. Not that you would. That's like something for like combo videos. But more practically, you can do that tar combo as an empty cancel. Would be something that people do all the time. They just poke out with that, and if it beats something, which it often does because it's a really good poke, they just cancel to the second hit and get that little, extra damage from there. And you can use it like a low if you're fishing for lows, but that tar combo is actually pretty unsafe. So you don't want to do that most of the time unless you can make it safe somehow, namely V-trigger. That would be something that he does. Like that's one of your primary ways to fish for V-trigger. Once you've got it stocked, because it leads to a ton of damage and it starts from a low, and you've got pretty good overheads as Balrog. Stand hard punch is a poke, and it's probably his best poke. Like crouch medium kick is really good too, but I think stand hard punch goes a little farther. It's probably worse overall than crouch medium kick, but it goes a little farther, which means it's really valuable for matches where you absolutely cannot get close to the opponent. You have to stop their approach by all means. Like for example, I don't know, grapplers. This is a good way to just keep people out, to zone them. Like if Zangief was like whiffing stand hard punch in front of you, he's like holding the armor and then he whiffs it in front of you, you'd be like, use that to counter poke him. Something like that. The range is really important. It's important to know your character's biggest range attacks, and I'm pretty sure that's Balrog's. Not counting special moves and whatnot. Balrog is like the king of counter pokes, honestly. He's the king of whiff punishing. You can use it, yeah, it's -3 on block. That's not too bad for a poke, so you can really use it quite a lot. It's neutral on hit. Usually when you've got a really big poke like this, the frame data is worse. But that's still like you can't really use it close like carelessly, but like people probably aren't going to punish that. It's just sacrificing pressure. You mostly use it at the tip of its range, and it has absolutely no conversions besides possibly like V-trigger. I've like never even thought about that. Stand hard kick is a super good button. The range is a lot worse than stand hard punch, but it sacrifices that range for plus frames, and the plus frames are really nice. It's actually +3 on block, which is enormous, but it's mitigated by the fact that it pushes out quite a lot, so it's hard to actually use that +3. Like you have to walk quite a bit before you can get a throw. I had to walk falsely, like an extra large amount, because I was being hit. I was hitting. I'd rather be blocked, because that way I could throw them sooner. But still, like the pushback is kind of big, so you can't really use that +3 unless you're frame trapping, and it's really obvious not to take a throw there because of the huge amount of push out. I don't know about Kareen. Don't know about beating Kareen pokes. I need to take that to training mode. As a general rule, Kareen's stand medium kick beats everything. Unless you get like stand hard punch could beat it if you already get it out, but Kareen could just whiff punish you with her stand medium kick, so that's not very practical. Stand hard punch is pretty slow. It's 11 frames, just for the record. That's like as slow as normals get without being ridiculous, like Ryu towards Fierce. Anyway, stand hard kick has a lot of plus frames. It's +3 on block, +7 on hit. +7 is a lot. You can link it to everything from like +7. You can't have charge. You can have back charge with this, but you can't have down charge. And his main ender is a flash kick motion, the down up plus kick. So you actually need to charge pretty quickly when you use this move. Used for a lot of his combos. That one I just did is stand hard kick, crouch medium punch into charge down up kick, and I used the medium one because that's the most damage that still combos. But just as a comparison, I would be using the light low, and that does a lot less damage than the medium upper. Low strong will combo into the medium upper, but it won't combo to the medium low, I don't think. Yeah. So you're getting a ton of damage to use that combo. There's the regular low, 190. The Yoki's good though. And there's the medium upper. It's 222. Quite a lot. That's probably his go-to. And then I didn't mention this, but crouch medium kick is pretty fast. It's actually 7 frames, so you can actually link that You could do something like that. And the thing about that combo is that it actually leaves you point blank. So if you do a V-trigger cancel, you can do like all of your normal follow-ups. Proof of concept. Do, something like that. You might not do all of them in an actual match. But that's just a showing of like how you could easily convert it to V-trigger or something like that. It's important to do that combo because it moves you close, and nothing else there really moves you close. I don't think you can link much else into it. You can link a start combo. I should have mentioned that. That's kind of cool. That's usually not useful. There's like one specific scenario where it's useful, and I'm actually right about to talk about it. So this is his main crush counter. This is the crush counter he has that actually leaves the opponent standing. And it leads to pretty nice damage. I don't know. It depends. It depends. Here's how do I do this? What's his crouch fierce crush counter combos? Samurai House. If you hit it from like close, you can do I think another one. It's like kind of precise to do though. There you go. You can walk in and do another stand hard kick. That's like super optimal. You wouldn't normally see something like that. That's like a really specific thing to go for. Yeah, something like that for a super version. That was Samurai House low strong into medium dash punch into super. That ended up doing pretty good damage. But more practically, you're going to be landing it as a poke probably. I mean, that would be your like DP punish. That would be your go-to is those two combos right there. If you can hit them, because they are kind of precise to hit. But if you're fishing for counter pokes with this, and it is a pretty good counter poke, and if you're fishing for counter pokes, you're going to be getting a lot of counter hits. If you get a counter hit from afar, you can't do that because you're not going to be able to get there in time. But you've actually got enough time to dash. But if you dash, you have very little time to like link a normal afterwards, so you've got to go for really fast normals. And from the best that I found, the best normal he has to link into is stay medium kick, because from that you can still do like all of his combos. The one that I usually see and the one that I usually recommend is dash in and then oh fuck, it's actually just frame I think, but it's still pretty easy with the buffering. Dash in and do a start combo is like a go-to. That'll work even if you counter poke from like super far out. Those are like very obvious. Those I think both versions of the tire combo do the same damage. That would be like a very obvious follow-up. That lets you convert even from max range very reliably. So practice that. That's like a super good Balrog punish. The other one that's really important is I mean this is just the other. You can't turn that tar combo into like a metered conversion, but he can turn the tar combo to a metered conversion if you do like a dash and then charge during the dash, and then do a link out of the stay medium kick. This one's kind of precise. I don't have that much muscle memory for it, but it's totally learnable. It's totally something you can learn to do. Something like that. I didn't use EX. You wouldn't use that combo. That actually did a little bit more damage than the other combo I did. 237. 224. Yeah, so the combo I just did, it doesn't leave a knockdown. So I'd probably still do the tar combo. Also, it's easier. But doesn't require like weird charging. But that combo that I did with the charging and the like the link out of the stay medium kick is a lot better for using EX or using super, because you can't use start combo and then EX or super. So something like that's bad muscle memory. There you go. Something like that would add quite a lot of damage for one bar. Or something like that. That would be an example super combo from far counter poke. And you could just like link the super if you wanted to. But I think you get a little bit more damage doing the using the full combo. So it's good to learn that. It's good to be ready to do that. It's not like crazy hard or anything. It just requires that you start charging during your dash, which a lot of people aren't used to when they start playing. Balrog requires a decent amount of charge buffering to play, but that's not bad. It just like teaches you how to charge buffer. It's the link timing, I don't know. Ooh. No, I haven't done how to do jury yet. Also sub duality. Let's talk about other normals. This is mostly just used as his crush counter punish, and it's mostly just used as a counter poke besides that. And just, you know, a general, this is his highest damage link starter. So it's good like after like a block jump in or like a successful jump in even, just to put them in a lot of like block stun, and if they happen to not be blocking for whatever reason, to convert really easily. Give me a second to take a sip of water here. Mm. Coach Fierce. This normal's pretty interesting. It looks like it'd be a really sick anti-air, and sometimes it is, but it's not as good as stand medium punch is. Medium punch does a lot less damage. It's 60 versus 90, but it's a lot more reliable. Crouch Fierce tends to win or trade. Stand strong tends to win clean. So if you can help it, you want to avoid this. And some air normals just aren't, like, this isn't very good at hitting some air normals. And it looks like it goes way over his head, but it's actually got a smaller range of effectiveness. I think it might be actually better at hitting over his head. That looks pretty good. So maybe if they're close, this becomes your go-to anti-air. Because I think I remembered something like that. But Balrog doesn't really have good anti-airs from this close anyway. Yeah, that looked pretty nice. But it isn't very good at beating air normals. That's the main thing. They want clean there. If you get the anti-air version of it, it actually only does 70 instead of 90, so you mitigate most of the damage from your stand strong. It also comes out slower, so you need to do it with more precise timing. I will say that it works. Like, it's not bad. It's just that when you trade with it, it sucks. Just play with both if you play Balrog. That's a good example. Play with both and see which one you have more success with. Stand strong is better from further out. It's also less committal. This actually cancels too. It doesn't go as far as low strong does, I don't think. Yeah. But it has a lot more hits done than crouch strong. So you can do some combos that you can't normally do with crouch strong. The most obvious one is the hard upper, which actually launches. So a very common punish combo with Balrog is something like this. Hello? There you go. That would be like his go-to like punish combo in most instances. It depends on how much meter you spend and how much what your resources are, but like just as a raw punish, that's just, you know, that's like good after a jump in or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's -1 hit. Most normals like that are. It's -5, -1. So yeah, it's like punishable. Don't just do it. And he doesn't really have a safe special move. He does have tap, which is safe, but tap doesn't combo from anything, so there's an interruptible period between. That one actually might be so interruptible that you can jab out of it. I don't actually know. But you don't normally see people use this unless it's guaranteed, unless it's a punish scenario. This is just mostly used as an anti-air and a punish. There is one other thing about it that's kind of neat, and is if you happen to get the crush counter with this, and not... It can't be the anti-air version that only does 70. It has to be the close version. But if you happen to get a crush counter with it, it actually launches the opponent, and there's some combos you can do with that. I don't actually remember what they are. I think that's one of them. Yeah, 261. It's pretty nice. But I think there's some other things you can do there. That's hard upper into medium dash punch, and then you can land a super there if you want to as well. And you can also swap out the medium dash punch with like EX if you want to. No downside. And then you can actually even spend another bar to do... You can cancel the EX into KKB, I think, and just do cool things from that. I don't know the window on that. That works, right? You can do like one and then... I don't know the window. Like that. Okay, it's late. It's really late. Yeah, like that. And then from that, I think you can land more EX. I had the charge, I just wasn't ready. It's precise. It takes a ton to get 100 fight money. Like that. Something like that. That would be like a 2-meter combo that he could do from there. I don't know I'm showing that off yet, because that doesn't really matter that much. I'm just showing off you can get like pretty powerful conversions from this. The go-to is hard upper, in my experience, and then medium dash punch. That seems to work everywhere on the screen. It's kind of precise in the corner depending on which character you're fighting. And it can still go to super if you want to cancel the last hit to super. Other conversions are... You can actually do a turnaround punch. That one's kind of precise. It might do more. I don't think it does. But it works. I'm really bad at this one. You can't... It's harder to buffer the button hold special moves. But you can start charging the turnaround punch after the crush counter. You don't need to have it in advance or anything. You can actually just hold 3 punches and use the 3 punches as your launcher. I'm really bad at this shit. I can't find it. I want to get it once. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can still do the light dash punch from that. That ended up doing like nearly the same damage. This might work from more ranges, for all I know. But I think you can do both with no prior charge, so I don't think that's a huge issue. Yeah, it might just be a range of effectiveness thing, because I did that with no prior charge just now. I see people tend to default to the turnaround punch. The only person I really see use that is Smug, and he uses the turnaround punch there. But to the best that I can tell, they're pretty much the same. And I think you can actually do walk-in KKB as well. And that has pretty much the same follow-ups. But I think that does less damage. Yeah, so that one might not be good. But it does work. There's nothing cool about that. That's just examples of some combos you can do there. This is other tar combo. Oh, but how does that damage compare? That was a meterless 261. We're doing this? Oh, not that. Actually, yeah, that. Let's see. That was 224, so that's less. But if you're doing... Fuck, that's really precise. It's not that precise. You have more time than I give it credit for. 293. Yeah, so the one that leaves your opponent standing is still better conversions. You have more freedom to do what you want on that one. Okay. Let's see here. What are we on now? Crouch Roundhouse? I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's literally like every other sweep in the game. It goes really far. It's a crush counter, and if you get the crush counter with it, it's a hard knockdown. What is the stun difference? 80 and 150, 90 and 150. Hard upper actually does more. I don't know. I don't know the difference between those two. Anyway, this goes really far. It's really minus on block. Even if you hit it at max range, it can sometimes be punished. Every character in the game can punish it really hard from close, so don't use it up close at all. If you get a crush counter with it, it's a hard knockdown. Usually it's not. It's really good at punishing other sweeps because of the large range. I don't have that much to say about this normal. It's just a really good poke, and it's, you know, kind of risky. But it does go really far. It goes undeniably far. It's like every other sweep in the game. Literally all sweeps in this game work exactly the same, and usually you don't really need them. But Balrog does go pretty far, further than most sweeps. Let's see. I guess I'll talk about the tar combos, right? So I showed off this one, and I pretty much said everything I want to say about it. You can go into either KKB. They're pretty much interchangeable. They have different Okies. That's it. That's like the only difference that I can see. They both do the same damage. Oh, these two just by themselves are unsafe on block, so don't just do them. This isn't just a tar combo where you can do the first two hits. Same with the light kick, medium kick, hard kick. If you just do the first two hits, it's -7. So don't just start the tar combo unless you're going to complete it, and you shouldn't even touch it unless you're about to knock down. I don't know what you would do with a hard knockdown as Rog. I don't know. His mix-up isn't super good. He's more about having solid footsies and controlling space. The only other tar combo is... I've actually talked about literally all of them. Is that one right there. And that one's pretty much only useful as a V-trigger confirm. You can use the other ones for V-trigger confirms too. This one's not so good because it launches. Makes it kind of useless. You'd rather leave a standing opponent. This one doesn't launch and always leaves you close, so it's super useful. But just for the record, you can actually do light kick, medium kick, V-trigger cancel as well, and you can confirm that to its max damage bullshit. That doesn't leave you point blank, but it usually doesn't matter that much. But just as a point of, like, you know, that moves you in far enough. There's no sort of car grabs for like any character in this game that I can tell, but none I'm aware of with Balrog. I mean, everyone still has cars, but no one has like a forward car that I know of. Yeah, I just tested all of his standing normals, nothing. If you're confirming off of like a low short, that might be your go-to like V-trigger confirm into the kick target combo, and then from there, etc., etc., etc. I'll talk more about V-trigger and how it works in a minute. But that's just like, that's how you going into that target combo lets you get your full conversions. Let's see. Air normals. He's got a pretty good selection of air normals actually. For a character who has only punches, he actually has like 6 good air normals. For a character with no cross up, he has 6 good air normals. Jump light kick is an instant overhead, which is kind of cool. Very few characters have shit like that. So like for example, if I knock the opponent down like right at the end of a round and you've got like a speck of health and I have like a jump in or something like that, I could do like jump hard kick and then jump out light kick. And even if they block the first hit, let me just show this off. Good old fuzzy guard. If he's crouching, this doesn't hit, okay? Not a thing, not a mechanic. But if he's standing, he has a standing hurt box, so I can like even if he switches to crouch guard, I can hit him with my jumping overhead. This is an overhead when it hits, but it doesn't hit a crouching opponent. An overhead that doesn't hit a crouching opponent sounds pretty useless. But like after a jump in, he's in block stun. So if I do jump out, light kick, it hits him while he's standing, but low blocking. So if he actually low blocks after that first one, that jump light kick hits as an overhead. And that means it's basically a true 50-50 between those two options. Like no one can react to the difference between those, and one can only be blocked high and the other one can only be blocked low. That being said, this is pretty bad to just do in footsie, so you better hope it kills the opponent, or else they can like make you. They can like Ryu could throw a fireball on reaction to that and like make me land on the fireball, something like that. It would be like you need good reaction to react to something like that, but like you know it sacrifices pressure and doesn't really do anything, and it's just there for the overhead. But he does have an instant overhead. Yeah, you can buy characters individually. Jump light punch is probably his best go-to reaction air to air. Like, let's say I'm this close to the opponent. If I'm doing stand strong or crouch fierce, they're not going to work. Not very good normals from this range. But I can still do a jump back attack to like air to air. That's still a good anti-air in that range. Balrog can still anti-air jumps like this. A lot of people don't, but you still can. You just got to use anti-airs like that. Jump back jab. The reason I use jab over short, even though short I think might be a hair faster, is because holding down back and then hitting up and short will give you that, like up back and short. It has command overlap with his dash punch, so you'd rather use jab just because it's a punch instead of a kick, so you don't have any command overlap. Because you want to hit it like as soon as you leave the ground, as soon as you're like pre-jump frames. But it goes pretty far, and it's like a super good. Speed is really important, which is why you're between light normals there. But it's a super good air to air actually. You could do it up as well, but jumping backwards is a little more consistent. But that's like his close range anti-air, and it's actually pretty reliable. You can do it on reaction fairly comfortably, and the opponent won't be hitting a button this early midair. I said this off for like pretty much every character now. Jump strong. I don't know. I never see anyone use that. Jump medium kick goes really far out. It might be like one of the farthest of his air normals. It's really good for like snagging, like Vega jumping off the wall and shit like that. Jump strong might be good for that too. Jump fierce is really good for that. Jump fierce goes really far out. I would say mostly stick around to. I think there are some uses with like the very recessed airblocks of jump medium kick and how far out it goes, but I don't really know them. But jump fierce goes really far, and it's good at contesting air to air kind of scenarios. It's a bit slower, but it does a lot more damage, and it also like goes really far. So if like it's a Vega jumping off the wall or something like that, you meet the air to air with jump fierce. It's actually pretty reliable. Goes far, hits them from way out. Jump hard kick's your go-to jump in. It's useful almost all the time for jump. Like there's almost no reason not to use jump hard kick if you're jumping into a grounded opponent. It goes the furthest down and it has a lot of hit stun, so you can connect it pretty high and still link into your like slowest attacks that are like the most rewarding. So like a go-to jumping combo might be something like I'm trying to do it super early. Something like that would be a good little example. Or dare I say it, something like this. It'll be your like max damage meterless. Those are just examples of things you can do. But like jump hard kick goes the furthest down, and it's important to hit your opponent as soon as possible. Oftentimes when you're doing a jump in, it minimizes the amount of time the opponent has to do an anti-air, and it also is most likely to interrupt something if they're like doing a fireball or something like that. And this is his most downward angle move, and it also does nice damage, so no reason not to use it like most of the time. And again, none of these cross up. He does not have a cross up. Maybe in very, very specific scenarios, jump light kick might cross up, but nothing else does that I can tell. No air target combos or air command normals or anything like that. We on to specials already? There's not a whole lot to say. He doesn't have that many. He kind of does have a lot of special moves. Alright, dash straight. This move is the fastest of his dash punches, I think. Yeah, like generously the fastest. And for that, it's often really useful. I showed it off in the struggle right here, but dash straight's the only one that hits because of how like quickly it comes out. It's unsafe in this game. The light one is -4, the medium one's -6, the hard one's -7. So all the normal ones are minus. You can still make them safe by like spacing them. Like look at this range that I leave myself out with a spaced light one. Ryu's fastest normal. That like Ryu's go-to punish for that kind of thing would be stand light kick. Ryu's stand light kick is never going to hit me from this far away. So if you use like space dash punches, you can still make them safe pretty easily. Even for like the medium and hard one, you can make them safe with good spacing. That being said, the light one is the easiest to space and also the easiest to make safe, so most of the time you're probably going to be using that one. It's okay to use stuff like this, but even if you make it safe, you're still minus. The opponent can still potentially like take the offensive because of that. It puts you in kind of a backwards kind of position. It's hard to describe. But they're not as safe as they used to be. You can't just go into them mindlessly. You don't want to do like just raw cancels like low strong light dash punch over and over. You're going to get yourself killed doing something like that in this game, where you can punish that with stand light kick fairly comfortably, or DP or something like that. The damage is okay. The 3 versions just change the damage and they change the startup and the range. It's like the 3 factors being changed. Heavier versions go farther, come out slower, and do more damage. But the damage differential between the 3 is very minor. It's just 80 to 100, so it doesn't usually matter. You don't usually care about going into like hard dash punch or anything like that. In fact, I don't really know of a scenario to use hard dash punch at all. But use the medium in some combos and use the light in some combos. And the light is kind of the most useful in footsies, so you'll probably mostly be using the light. But it's medium after crouch jab, and it's light after most of his other links. And it's medium after like low strong if you're going to go into super, because this is like his go-to super cancel. So you see that a lot, at least. And again, if you can do juggles into super, you can do that. Where's my super? The super is just a double quarter circle motion, so even though you're doing charge moves, it's fairly easy. Like, it used to be that Balrog couldn't do a dash punch from here and then cancel out the super because the charge, you couldn't get a new charge in time and you had to sacrifice the first one to do the special move. But now he can do like even a full screen dash punch and super cancel it, which is kind of nice for whiff punishing purposes. But his super itself is a really good whiff punish, so you normally don't care that much about that kind of stuff. Let's see here. What else is Dash Punch good for? I feel like it's good for a lot of stuff. It's good as a super cancel. It's good as a combo ender, but it doesn't knock down, so you've usually got better combo enders. It's good as a juggle because of how fast it is, and it's pretty good in footsies if you use it in a spaced, safe way. It also has a decent number of active frames, but that usually doesn't matter that much. EX is really good. EX is actually like really good. It's one of the better EX moves in the game, in my humble opinion. It comes out really quick, about as fast as the light one. Actually, I think a little faster than the light one. 9 versus 10. EX is 1 frame faster. And it goes really far. And it's also plus 1 on block. And it knocks down. So the fact that it's plus 1 on block means it's pretty much free to go for. And the fact that, like, if they block it, you can then go for like a stand light kick or something like that. That's not block. That's crouch. That stand light kick will beat pretty much anything they do unless it's invincible. Actually, that's out of range. Let's say crouch jab. Oh god, what a very specific range it leaves you at. That stand jab, I think normally I'm used to the opponent crouching, which makes them a little bit wider. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was thinking of. If you're blocking, usually crouching, but just for safety, you could probably go for stand jab there. But even then, like, you don't need to go for anything like that. You're kind of inviting yourself to get reversed since there's no mix-up there. But the point is, if they can't do anything after it, because if they did something after it, you could immediately stuff it. So people tend to kind of just block after blocking an EX dash punch. And it has really good corner carry. It actually, like, if you're cornered, it's not too bad of an idea to just get them to block anything and cancel it into a EX dash punch. Because after that, plus like the light normal you tag on afterwards or something like that, you've pushed yourself decently out of the corner. You can then, like, you can play from here. You know, you're not in threat anymore if you're doing EX Tatsu, like EX DP or anything like that. I would say it depends on the matchup. This question was just meter for EX or meter for super. I didn't show that off. EX Dash Punch is generally your best EX move. It depends on what you're trying to do. But EX Dash Punch is super good. It just does a lot of damage and goes really far, really fast. EX Low is a little bit slower, and it does knock down, but it does less damage. And, you know, EX Dash Punch straight also knocks down. It just has worse Oki. They add pretty significant amount of damage. Okay, let's actually look at this right now because this is when it's relevant. Let's say I'm doing low short, low jab, medium dash punch, and I just dropped it. That's like a go-to light normal combo. If I tag on EX, 119. If I'm using EX, I'm doing 167, so I'm getting about 50 damage. Okay, 48. But I'm also doing, I'm also getting a knockdown. So 50 damage for an EX bar is pretty good. And the knockdown is super welcome. And then in terms of juggles, like I showed it in a combo where I'd actually use medium dash punch, but I actually get a little bit more damage in scenarios where I would be using light dash punch. If I'm using like this, I don't know about meter generation. That's like something out of my area of knowledge of Balrog. That did 235 for no bars. And now we're at 291, okay? So I just got almost 60 damage for spending an EX bar. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would say ZX is generally worth it. It's generally good to go for EX. And then there are some other conversions he can only do if he has EX. Like EX dash punch, the fact that it's straight is actually really important. Or the fact that it's 2 hits. Why did I say straight? Because you can cancel any of his dash punches into his V skill, and I'll talk more about that when I talk about his V skill. But you can actually cancel the second dash punch of the EX into V skill. And that normally doesn't matter that much. It does give you like a surprise through a reset, which I guess a lot of people won't be ready for. But it's kind of too slow. The overhead reset's pretty good. I'm throwing too early. Ugh. I don't know the window for this. I think Balrog players, there's something Balrog players learn really fast. There you go. Something like that. You'll probably catch someone off guard with that if they're not used to fighting Balrog. That's like surprising enough that it probably use that on someone. And especially remember, that's only on hit though. I think you don't get the second hit on block, right? Yeah. So that's just that's a reset for when you're hitting the opponent. So you probably just want the second hit because it does nice damage. 70 more. So you're gonna go for 70 guaranteed damage or 120 damage that they could tech. You know, it just depends on what kind of player you are. But it's really useful in struggles because canceling into the V skill and then getting the hits from that. It's normally too slow. I was just showing it off right there. Fuck. Yeah, the punch and the kick follow off are both too slow to combo there, I think. But in juggles, you actually you can do the punch follow up in time, which I just missed. It's so, I don't know the window. It's like really quick. It's really late, but really quick. If that makes any sense. Yeah, I'm doing it super slow. The V skill. That's the window that needs to change. So slow. I just did this like a little minute ago, but now I can't seem to get it. No use. I'm so slow. This is a pretty easy scenario to practice it, and I still can't get it. Whatever. Take my word for it. I'll show off juggles when I talk about juggles later on. The point is you can juggle into punch follow up, kick a B punch, and then from there you can do other EX moves. So you can get 2 bar combos going. I don't have that much more to say about dash straight. Dash low is noticeably slower than dash straight. You still have the 3 different versions with 3 different damage values. It's a little bit weaker. It's 70, 80, 90 instead of 80, 90, 100. Yeah, I would say Balrog's a good character for first charge. Absolutely. I would say he's one of the best. I would say he is the best in the game for a first charge character. Because he still has all of the things that charge characters do all the time, like charge buffering. But he has ways around them if you don't have the charge. He can always just do like meterless combo or chargeless combos. I would say Balrog is like the go-to because Guile has to learn the hard charge buffering and he has to do the charge versions of shit. The low follow-up, the low dash punch, charge back forward kick. It's slower, so you've got to go one version. If you normally just match the version. Like if you're doing crutch hard punch, you can do hard straight. If you're doing crutch medium punch, you can only do like medium straight. And if you're doing most lights, you have to do light straight. But this one actually you have to go one version lower. Like if you're doing lights, you can't use it at all. It's just too slow. Even from like crouch. Oh, wrong special move. Even from like crouch jab, which has the longest blocks done, hits done. But from like low strong, you've got to go to the light one, and the medium one is too slow. Proof of concept. Yeah. And then from crouch fierce, I think the hard one is too slow. No, crouch fierce just works into the hard one. You would never do this unless you had no down charge. But what kind of scenario is that? That like never happens. Because you'd rather do just upper, and from there. But like from the more important thing is from low strong, which is like your go-to link. You've got to go into the light one instead of the medium one. because that's like the one you're gonna be ending in a lot of the time. Anyway, this mostly works in the same scenarios that uh, Dash Punch does, but it knocks down, whereas the other one, Dash Straight doesn't knock down. So you sacrifice a smidge of damage for a knockdown. The knockdown's usually better. That being said, if you go for the knockdown, you can't actually super cancel this, so your conversions are still better on the other one. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's not as good for juggling or anything. That being said, the EX one, yeah, Dash Thought was kind of hard to use. You can still use it in footsies. You can still space it, but it's more unsafe. They're all -7. Except the EX one. The EX one's super good. The EX one's only -2, so it's safe, but it's not plus like the EX straight is. But it's low, so it catches people who aren't blocking low. And Balrog doesn't have many ways to force you to block low, so this is kind of welcome. And the Oki is super good on it. Like you get like the perfect knockdown even if they quick stand. It also comes out pretty fast and goes really far, but it's not quite as fast as the EX straight, but it's a lot faster than the regular lows. There's some juggles where you use that, but you're almost always better off going for EX straight, I think. It's very specific where you go for one or the other, and I don't know those specifics because EX straight does a little bit more damage. I think you just like EX low for the better knockdown positioning. But even then, EX straight gives you better corner carry, so it all just depends on what you're trying to do. But like I'd say, EX straight is usually better. Let's talk about... Oh yeah, this move also cancels to KKB. I should mention that whenever it's possible. You can cancel his straight dash punches to V-skill, and you can cancel his dash lows to V-skill. And the dash lows are actually easier, while still having the same duration, because they've got more startup, so it's more easy to get like that V-skill cancel. And when I showed off that like stand strong anti-air into V-skill under, I showed it off with the light kick one, because there's like that gives me a lot of time to do the V-skill compared to like a dash straight. But I would say that's like, that's a little thing about it, is that it's kind of better as a KKB thing, just more reliable, because it's more precise to do. It's less precise to use in KKB cancels, while still functioning about exactly the same way. Screw Smash, this move's pretty neat. He's never had it before. It's pretty cool. You got 3 different versions that actually have a pretty significant difference. The light one, I'm not aware of a use for at all, to be honest. You can probably ignore the light one. There might be there might be one really specific thing it does. But it doesn't combo from lights or anything like that. If it did, it'd probably be super useful. It'd probably be his go-to ender. I think they all canceled the super, which is kind of nice. Or maybe it's just light medium that canceled the super because hard is kind of different. And there are some other kind of neat things you can do with them. I think you can't cancel them to KKB, right? Yeah. So none of that. Yeah, no KKB cancels. But you do have the super cancel, which is kind of cool. It does noticeably more damage than the other special moves. The light does 100, medium does 110, and hard does what? Maybe less because it launches 90. Yeah, but 90 plus a juggle state. So it's a lot stronger, and it's pretty slow. It's like the same speed as the... It has more variance in its speed. The hard one is slow as fuck. The hard one is 24 frames, which is by far the slowest of all his dash punches. But otherwise, the light one is really fast at 11. And the medium one, I think the light one might be a good anti-air. Oh wait, no, the light one's 13. I think there's some anti-air properties of this when at a range. I think I've seen people post stuff about that. I might try that out a little bit in a minute. I think it's actually it reduces the size of his hurt box on his head, so it can kind of cleanly anti-air. But the problem is it moves far forward, so you've got to make them land on the fist, which is sometimes impractical because you can't control where your opponent jumps from, other than try and get in the right range, and you can't move when you're holding down charge, so you can't get in the right range. Yeah, I upload this to YouTube. Haven't you seen all the other ones that are on YouTube? They have a fuck ton of active frames actually. They're all -10, so they're all unsafe. So you have to confirm it to all of them. Again, I don't really know of a use of the light one besides possibly an anti-air. The medium one is the go-to from medium normals, and the hard one is the go-to from Crouch Fierce. The hard one you pretty much only use after a Crush Counter Crouch Fierce and a cancelable Crouch Fierce, and in both instances it's like your max damage punish. So I've been doing combos like that for a minute now. That's like a go-to bread and butter jumping combo for Balrog, for example, into the hard screw smash. And then the medium one is like your go-to from medium normals, and that's your max damage ender for medium normals. So if you can help it. That being said, because it's a crouching motion, you can't do it from like stand strong, or you can, but it's like insanely precise and usually impractical. I don't have that much to say about this one. The EX one's pretty neat. It's 12 frame startup, which is actually really shit for what you need to do with it. 12 frame startup is kind of annoying. It has armor, and it's his only armored move, and the closest thing he has to a reversal. And he doesn't really truly... I mean, Super's the best reversal he has, because it actually has true blue invincibility from frame 1. But, just an example of something you can do, for example, with the EX one. I think 4. There you go. Use my armor in a meaningful way. You could do like that. Balrog has other ways through Fireball, so that's not a super big deal. But that's just an example of like, it has armor. It only has the armor from the 3rd frame onwards, which is pretty shit. It means you can't use it as a wake up because any like true meaty will just beat it. But if you're talking about like block strings, like what is... I don't know if Ryu has a block string that I can break my way out of. Let's try. But I don't think I can. No, I guess I can, right? I don't know. No, I don't think so. Fuck. Let's just try it. I'm going to record a new slot. That might be a really hard thing to break through. No, there you go. See, like you can break, even though you can't use it on wake up super well, you can break through the opponent's block strings. You don't need that 1 and 2 frame armor most of the time for breaking through block strings. So you can use it as a way to like, contest the opponent's pressure. Because those were going to combo. You could use that to get out of Ryu's like stand strong. Even though it's plus, you can use that to like break through. So it's good as a reversal, but it's not good as a wake up, if that makes any sense. But it's still not that good as a reversal. It's pretty unsafe. It's minus 14. Most every like armored move is unsafe, just so you know. But it does have armor, and that's kind of neat, and it's the only move he has with armor. And there's a little bit of neat stuff you can do with that, right? Like I've uploaded a video on it recently, actually. How does this work? Let's talk about turnaround punch. This move is really whack. You hold 3 punches or 3 kicks, I think. It's not 2 punches, is it? Oh yeah, it's 2 punches. It's not even 2 punches, it's any 2 buttons. Literally any pair of buttons. Forgot, they like greatly simplified it. This is one of the things that makes this character a little bit more stick friendly, but turnaround punch is not like crazy useful. It's got a lot of startup, that's the main thing. But if you're holding two kicks or 2 punches or any combination therein, and then release 3. He'll do a really big dash punch that's also like 100% safe, but it's like really slow. And then he has really crazy weird invincibility while he's doing it. That's not that one. Huh, I did a little early. I'm charging a big one right now. Bonk. So that wasn't even like good enough to hit. If I'm closer, it would work. Bonk. So you can use it to really easily go through fireballs, and it also has some upper body invincibility here and there. So it's good in that sense. It doesn't knock down or anything. If you charge it enough, it'll start to knock down. That's the thing about it, is the longer you hold it, the more damage it does. So like after holding it for a pretty good amount of time, it'll knock over. I think that was a 4. And then if you hold it for a really long... And they're all -2 in this game, so there's no downside to holding it extra time. I think it only gets better. If you hold a 7 through 9, like a really big tap, he's actually full body invincible from frame 1. So he technically has like a true meterless reversal. But it has 26 frame startup, which is astronomical. And you also need to be charging for a fuck long time, like 40 seconds. So it's like totally impractical to actually have a tap level 7 or like tap level 8 or tap level 9 in a real match. But I guess you could just be charging a long time. 56 seconds to get a final tap. Still -2. And it does 500 damage before it's done. The damage keeps on going up in the stun the longer you hold it. Fuck, I released. What happened? Nothing happened. RIP. RIP my tap. Mostly tap is used to go through fireballs or just to badger. It's like a really far poke that's safe. A lot safer than other dash punches. And you can juggle into it, but most of the times you can juggle. The only time you can really juggle into it is crush, counter, crouch, fierce, and you've got other stuff you can do there. So it's usually not super important. But it's mostly just used to go through fireballs. And just, just get a little bit of chip damage on the opponent safely. I think you can cancel it to super if you want to. Yeah. But that's not usually important unless you're making a combo video and you want to do final tap into super. I don't think it does anything special on crush counter, does it? Maybe like on like... Oh, there you go. You get the level 1 and counter hit with it, you can get the kick tower combo. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that, to be honest. Like, thinking back, I'd probably put that in the Balrog video. It's really impractical. But, if you happen to do this and get the counter hit, that is your conversion. You can react, so it's worth knowing. I don't have that much to say about tap. It's just safe. It's like -2. It's technically safe. +1 on hit. And it just, like, gets a little bit of chip damage and the opponent approaches really easily. It does okay damage, I guess. It just has really big range. And it's useful for going through fireballs. That's like all I gotta say. And he's got other things to go through fireballs even besides this, so it's not a huge deal to use or not use. I think you could have a really good Balrog never using tap, to be honest. I think tap is very, very situational in this game. Although there's no downsides with it. Except, like, it's kind of poor startup. It's 26 frame startup, which is astronomically huge. But given the range, that's not too bad. It does look like an overhead. I guess you could confuse people who mix it up with his actual overhead that's unsafe. So if, like, people are looking for that and you're doing that, you can probably catch some people off guard. If there's, like, other things about tap, like, feel free to comment in the archive if you're watching this later on. Does he have another... his only other special moves, I think, are his feature moves. Yeah, Charging Buffalo and Bursting Buffalo. Oh, I forgot about that. You can actually cancel Turnaround Punch into KKB. That's really slow, though. I don't think there's any purpose for that. I guess it's neat. Even if you do the fast follow-up, that's so slow. You would never do that, I don't think. It's interesting that they even made it possible. I can't think of a scenario where that's useful. No, I can't. I can't think of a scenario where that's useful. Let's talk about his V skill, I guess. There's not that much more to say. I guess it does have double Fireball invincibility. That's interesting to think about. But I don't think V skill has Fireball invincibility for its like totality. So I think you're gonna have invincibility and then no invincibility and then invincibility. You might be able to go through something like LB trigger. That's really interesting to even bring that up. That's super neat to even talk about. If that actually just purely goes through fireballs, then you really could go through something like that. But that's so specific. But that's neat. I'll test that out later. KKB, his V skill, super good. It's just a little pivot. I think the pivot has projectile invincibility and nothing else. I don't think you can dodge hits with this, just fireballs. The fireball invincibility is pretty good. If you're doing it from afar, you can fairly comfortably and non-committally kind of go through a fireball. Like, Ryu can't really stop you from doing something like that. There's no downside. You don't get V-meter from doing that, for what it's worth. And I should have mentioned that earlier when talking about his... That was actually really important about his target combos, is they actually give you V-meter because you're landing the punch of his KKB. So you get V-meter from landing those follow-ups, and that's a safe way to do it because both follow-ups are minus. Anyway, if you're close enough, you can actually do KKB into a follow-up. There's two follow-ups. There's the punch one, which is just a straight hit, and the kick one that's like an overhead. The punch one is a lot faster, so it's by far better using as a fireball punish, and it actually goes pretty far. You can use it from really far out. And I think you can V-trigger cancel it, although I don't know if it's really useful from that far out. Wow. I don't know if you can actually like get a hit. He usually kind of moves himself close. Yeah, you'd have to do like straight dash punches from that, so that's like super specific. But I mean, theoretically it works, so it's still kind of neat. Something like that. It's not a whole lot. It's just a smidge. You get a little bit of V-meter when you land this. Let me show it off just so we have a good sense. There you go. A little less than half a bar. It's actually a lot more than I thought it was. But for the record, it's really hard to land, so that's not too surprising. Damn, if you set V meter on infinite, could you just do like infinite towards plus punches? No, you can't because it stops at 5, right? Yeah. Anyway, um, the punch one is just a little hit, and the hit is really fast, and that's actually really important because he's got like resets, I guess, where you can do like let's say like low strong into into dash punch into V skill. I don't know. I'm making up a combo here. There are resets where you can reset to overhead, for example, the kick follow up, and if the opponent is jamming reversal buttons, then they'll actually stuff your overhead. But if you do the KKB punch follow up, it'll hit them hitting reversal buttons. It'll like give them 2 frames to hit a button, but that's not enough to hit you. It's enough to get counter hit, but nothing else. But the punch one is unsafe on block. It's -4. It's like barely unsafe, but it's unsafe enough that like you're usually gonna be near point blank after using it, so it's like a big problem. So the punch one is normally just used as a fireball punish, or sometimes as a juggle, often as a juggle. Those are like the main reasons for it. The kick one immediately knocks down when it hits airborne opponents, but you can do some neat stuff on a grounded opponent because it's an overhead, and it's actually pretty plus. Let's talk about this a little bit. The punch one on counter hit is +4, so you actually can do links out of it, and if it trades, it's also super easy to do links out of it. There you go. That's an example link. The kick one is +6, no, +5, +5 naturally. So you can do any of his light normals, and you can also do stand medium punch. Stand medium punch is obviously the go-to because it does more damage. And you can't combo a knockdown from pretty much any of these, except you've got pretty much like 3 options here. Okay. Oh, I didn't mention that. I should actually mention that right now. If you've got a crouching opponent, down plus up and kick actually whiffs, which is kind of annoying. But crouch fierce launches. I mean, force to stand. Fuck. So if you're doing combos like that, that's like your go-to ender. Oh, and I should also mention about this. No part of this combo forces stand. I did the charge back forward plus light kick, which is what you would normally do here. Like you can also do the medium screw upper, but if it's a crouching opponent, you need to modify your combo to not include the medium screw upper because it doesn't work. That's really important, and I'm sad I didn't mention it at the time. But screw smash whiffs on crouchers. Anyway, if you're going for overheads, you're probably going to be hitting crouchers almost all the time. So screw smash combos are pretty much out of the equation, even though they're too slow to link to anyway, cancel into. From light normals, which are pretty much the only thing you can land off of this. So what you're generally going to be doing is either medium punch into dash straight, medium dash straight, or light low. Those are like your 2 enders. Medium dash straight is nice because it leaves the opponent knocked over. I mean, fucking standing, so you can land super. The exact opposite of knocked over. It's good for keeping the opponent upright. If you're gonna EX, you probably go for the EX straight because it has nice corner carry and nice damage. And if you're gonna if you want the knockdown, I would say this is probably the best conventionally, is stand medium punch into the light low follow up. Hitting that after activating V trigger. That's a really interesting question. I have no idea, and I don't want to test. I'll test that later on. Probably not. What else about KKB? Okay, the punch one is -4, which is already a little bit unsafe. The kick one is actually -8, which is pretty massively unsafe. So, if your opponent actually blocks it and they know the game, like Ryu's gonna like hit me with like crouch fierce and hard DP or something like that, I'm gonna get pretty punished. Especially because this almost always hits point blank, and you want it to land point blank, or else you can't get any meaningful links out of it, since everything you link into is pretty short range. So you're mostly gonna be trying to sneak it in, and it is a pretty good overhead. It comes up pretty quickly. I mean, it doesn't, but it does. It's more so that it fakes his other attacks. Like I can do like a dash straight into KKB into kick, and that looks pretty wonky mid screen. That looks kind of just bad. But like let's say like a reset, you could reset into an overhead really easily and just catch people off guard. A lot of people just like autopilot low block when in this game, and Balrog has like an overhead that can be snuck in pretty well. That being said, his low presence is not very good. So like a good player who knows the game can mess with you. That being said, if you have like a V-trigger combo, like where you're doing like the dash straights over and over, like that, and you go for like the KKB, like that, Like the KKB follow-up into kick is a pretty sneaky overhead, and you can just as easily go for... I didn't even attempt to do that right. You can also go for like the reset into the low short, and that'll catch people. That's like an overhead or a low that's pretty hard to react to, and both of them lead to full combos. So even though the overhead's unsafe, you've got a good enough mix-up that you can occasionally land the overhead, if that makes any sense. And sometimes you can go through a fireball and still land the overhead. It's like still fast enough. I don't know what KKB actually stands for, to be honest. That's just what it's called in the move list. It's probably some boxing term. KKB. What else? Is there more to the V skill? It works off of dash straight, dash low, and turnaround punch. I don't know. There's not that much more to say. It's useful for juggles. Let's try and get that, just so we can show it off. And a lot of his juggles, you can go into KKB. Let me get here. And a lot of his juggles, you can You can do like KKB, like EX dash punch into KKB punch, or even stuff other than that in V trigger. I'm showing off the meterless ones, which are kind of hard to do. They're not even that hard. I'm just bad at them. I just can't do that. I did it earlier. That's what's so confusing. Maybe I did it in a different scenario. Maybe I did it off the crutch hard punch, like crush counter combo, and it works off of that, but it doesn't work off of this. That's actually possible. It's possible the combo I'm going for is something that can be done. I don't know. I'm not a very good Balrog. I mean, I am, but like not at that. Not a very good Balrog at that. But let's talk about V trigger, and then we'll talk about the KKB juggles during V trigger, because that's actually like super relevant. That's where you'll be doing most of the time. V trigger. So what it does is, I mean, I think it does a few things. I don't actually remember what it does besides the follow-ups. The follow-ups are the main thing. They're like the express thing it does. I don't think it affects his damage at all. And I don't think it affects his speed at all. Confirmed, landing KKB follow-ups does not build V-meter in V-trigger. The thing is, Epsilon, it's KKB into nothing into low short versus KKB overhead. Like, yeah, both KKB versions can be high blocked, but if you just KKB and then do a low, it's kind of hard to react to. Harder than it looks. Versus that, it's kind of tricky in the moment. But I think you knew. Anyway, you get these two weird little follow-ups. If you do a dash punch and then do forward plus punch, it does like an extra hit. And you can do a bunch of them if you want to, but they take a pretty good amount of V-meter, so usually, I don't know, you can do them or not. It depends on the scenario that you're in. But just rolling out, that's the most you can do. I used almost all of my V-meter, but I added a pretty respectable amount of damage. So like a really common setup is something into V-trigger, followed by crutch fierce into hard upper, which gets you your launch. And then you do the light dash punch. Does this even work? Let's do this. And then do the follow-ups from there. That's like a really obvious, just like baby V-trigger combo. And that does pretty good damage. I've done stuff with Rashid. I've done like a bread and butter with Rashid, know how to play Rashid and whatnot. I usually don't use him as a dummy character just because he's a little offbeat, but like I know how to play him and I know what he does and whatnot. Anyway, there's two different follow-ups here. You can hit forward plus punch, which gives you a straight, and forward plus kick that gives you an upper. And the upper launches a little higher, and that almost never matters. And the punch leaves the opponent standing, which sometimes matters if you want to go for resets, because you can cancel any of these into a KKB. The trick is to take your finger off towards, because you have to do towards to do all these follow-ups. And if you do KKB, it'll like overlap with the towards plus like punch, or like towards plus kick or whatever. So you have to like release the forward, and then you can do KKB just by the normal ass input. Anyway, as long as you do any one of these hits, you can cancel themselves into KKB, or you can cancel the recovery. You can cancel it like a special move, or you can cancel it like the startup. That was me canceling the startup. That was me canceling it like a special move. Both of those are pretty useful depending on what you're trying to do. Oh, I should have mentioned, the kick follow-up does a little bit more damage. That did 36. That did 27. Very slightly more. So that's actually like, kind of important. So let's say I do like some V-trigger combo. I'm going to be doing a little bit more damage from doing all kicks. I see that mistake a lot. A lot of people just do all punches here, but kicks do a little bit more. And then one other thing about it is the kicks don't cancel the super, but the punches do cancel the super. And you can mix and match, so I just ended with a punch one. That would be like probably close to max damage from just like your random bread and butter starter. You can do kicks or punches, or fucking you can just alternate as you're going. Kick, punch, kick. I think some scenarios the kick one can fall out, but none of his bread and butter combos is that true. So like, just make sure you know like his normalized combos. That sounds all weird to say because the bread and butter is determined. It's self-causing. Whatever. I would say his most important. Before I forget, if you do EX, he also has like special follow-ups for that are EX follow-ups, and you can do fewer of them, I think. But that's only 2. You can only do 2 there, and then you can also do like EX plus punch follow-ups and whatnot. EX plus kick follow-ups. One thing that's really important about these is you can actually do them from... I don't know if you can do them from turnaround punch. I think you can, yeah. You can do them from turnaround punch, and you can do them from screw smash. Literally all of his dash punches, you can do these little follow-ups. And they seem really useless from screw smash, but there's some interesting things you can do with them, mostly involving juggles. Let's see here. Let's talk about the EX juggles because they're super cool. Off of some knockdowns when you're in V-trigger, like some like versions of this, you can do like resets into KKB into kick, KKB into punch. Not that one. I think it depends on the knockdown. The ones I've had good success with are screw smash and the dash low. So those are the ones I know work. I guess you can do final tap into V-trigger chains. I've like never tried it, but that's like an interesting question. I can't even... Fuck, the button I'm holding was... Never mind. I'm not going to test it here. Here's an example of V-trigger combo I've seen people do. I did low plus 1 kick follow-up. And then from there I can do KKB punch. And see how that causes the KKB punch to actually hit? And then from there I can use EX moves. It's pretty wacky looking and it requires some complex charging, but once you know how to do it, it's not that hard. Fuck. I say as I drop it. Yeah, that was the scenario that I was talking about earlier, where you can have hits fall out. Punch follow-ups are better there, just so you don't have knockdown, so you don't have fallout. Oh fuck, I lost myself. I did it kind of early. I think kick follow-ups are actually better there. I think it was just my timing. Fuck. Fuck. Yeah. There you go. I should have done 2 kicks. I did punch then kick. But you saw it, right? Everyone saw it. That would be like a go-to, like 1 bar Balrog combo. I mean, that one's not go-to. Screw smash is the go-to version of it. But like just as an example of that. I'm pretty sure that works. Let me double check. Fuck. Well, I got the kick one. I was mashing like a noob. Too fast. Way too fast. God, that might not work the way that I thought it did. I thought it did. Let me think about this. I could hit the punch button later. Couldn't I? I'm not actually sure. I feel like that works, but I can't seem to get it, but I'm pretty sure it works. Could it be straight there? That's possible. It is straight. Damn it, dude. That's what you do. Straight has a better angle for that sort of thing. Throws the opponent a little bit less high. But that's another example, just like talking about like shit I've seen with that. I did it wrong. But like this would be a good example of like a pretty high damage like Balrog combo. I don't know I'm doing that. But like just, you know, any combo to screw smash. Fuck. I don't know why I'm trying to do like crazy cool shit. Alright, let's see here. Almost. I didn't let him fall enough again, but that kind of thing would be a good example of a one bar combo. You can see players do them. The main one that you almost always see is the 1 into the EX straight, and then from the EX straight you do KKB punch. But that one starts with an EX, so you're burning 2 bars because you after the KKB punch and juggles, you've got to go EX because nothing else has the juggle potential. Yeah, the corner carry on this move is like insane. You can just have full screen corner carry. Balrog just instantly corners the opponent with a V-trigger combo, which is kind of nice. Started in my corner. I don't have that much to say about V-trigger. Let me just talk about the V-trigger combos because I've already talked about most of the things I talked about, even though it was kind of disjointed, and I apologize for that. But like, I showed that one off, and almost every V-trigger combo starts like that. Crutch, fierce, hard, upper, and then straight combos. Excuse me. I should mention right now that that combo is actually insanely hard in corners. You tend to go under the opponent. It's possible on every character, to the best that I can tell, but it's really, really precise on some characters. Ryu is one of them. So you can still get it, but it's like there's only like a 2-frame window where it actually juggles, and the rest of the time it doesn't. So a lot of people, what they do there is they just juggle into EX, because EX always works, and it does pretty nice damage anyway, so you might as well just do it. But that's kind of annoying if you're trying to land a super with that combo in the corner. It's actually really hard. Kapow. Anyway, you might do like if you're doing a V-trigger combo, you might do something like EX. I don't know, something like that would be fairly common. Or you might just do like a standing combo. You might do a different starter. That's too far. Let me just do something normal. That was too normal. There you go, something like that. Something that didn't involve the launcher at all. Just not have the yeah, I know you can cancel. I tried to do it, but I'm bad. Oh, I didn't mention this at all, but Balrog's actually special because he's one of the characters who can cancel special moves into V-trigger, which is a fairly rare and cool talent in this game. Unfortunately, it's almost always useless for him. The recovery on these, when KKB cancelled, is V-trigger cancelled, is pretty long. I don't think it makes them safe. It's like hard to say. Let's just try it. Alright, so I'm going to do that. Okay, I got it. And then I'm going to have him jump. Alright, that actually made it totally safe. So that's probably going to work with all versions of that. So you could theoretically make it... You could theoretically save your screw smashes with a V-trigger, because they have kind of long blocks done. But like just an example of how useless it isn't. I mean, useful it isn't. If you do like a dash straight and V-trigger cancel it, he's still on guard. Fuck. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Okay. You get like no frame advantage. I think you can on one of them you can do. That was entirely wrong. On one of them you can do a link into stand short, like you're literally +3. I think that's light dash punch. Yeah, there you go. You're +3 on light dash punch cancelled to V trigger on hit, so it's not super useful. Very difficult to actually make work, but that is your conversion if you like do like a V trigger cancel there. But like, why would you? And because you're comboing into light kick, there's no way to get into a dash punch from that. Because light kick, I think light kick doesn't cancel. Yeah, you've only got the target combo to go into. It's not very useful in his special move cancels. You might be able to do like that. I don't know how. That's almost certainly unsafe. I can't imagine that being safe, like at EX and then a V trigger. Because that's unsafe with Birdie, who's the only other character who has it, who I can think of. I'll try it just for, posterity's sake. That's not a V-trigger at all. I think that got it. Send him a jump. Yeah, he jumped quite a bit before me. He could get a punish still. And it gives you the super freeze, the V-trigger freeze. So he's guaranteed to react to the fact that you just did what you did. In V-trigger, I've been showing off like a whole lot of juggles with the V-trigger, but actually the reset on the ground is super good. If you like do, let me show that off just as a proof of concept. What happened? I thought I did the charging perfectly. I just instinctively do kick follow-ups. I swear I'm charging right. Someone help me. The resets there are pretty good. You can get that little, from the follow-up, from that, I think you can actually get the KKB follow-up to combo. Well, I just got it there. You just gotta be really fast. There you go. And that leaves you +2 and point blank, which is a very good scenario. But, you've only got like the lows. You don't have an overhead there after the KKB punch. But that leaves you in a really nice little mix-up. So I would say leaving the opponent grounded is usually better if you want to try and make a comeback. But I don't really know the setups to leave the opponent grounded. I don't know like how many you do, and I don't have the muscle memory to do it. But I just want to say that it is good. What I just did there is like probably your more practical comeback mechanic. And you would do crouch fierce into fierce dash punch, and then just some of the punch follow-ups, but maybe not all of them. It depends. It depends. Anyway, there's not much besides that to say about V-trigger. None of the cancels from special moves are super useful. Oh, I didn't mention this, but this is actually super useful. KKB plus kick is unsafe, but you can actually make it safe with the V-trigger. So maybe do that. That's a super good thing to do. That makes it 100% safe, and you can actually link the crouch fierce to do your normal ass combos, which is kind of nice. So that's like your max damage actual conversion out of KKB kick, etc., etc., etc. I pretty much run out of things to talk about with Balrog. I've been showing off his bread and butter combos pretty much non-stop. Let's talk about his V reversal just to show it off. I literally have nothing to say about his V reversal. It's like decently fast. It's not that fast. It's not fast enough. It's fast considering its animation. What's 3? Swords plus punches, I think. Yeah, and it's a bullhead. It's actually his bullhead. I think this is a sweep, right? So you can use this to just, it's like every other V reversal in the game. It does exactly 60 damage in white damage, and it hits kind of slow, but not so slow that it doesn't work, and it leaves you -2 if they manage to block it, and it's throwable. That's literally all. It does have good Oki. I should have mentioned that. The Oki is actually pretty nice on that. I'm pretty sure he's throwable for the whole thing, to be honest. The only frames where you'd really worry about throwing it are the ones in the startup, and those are all definitely throwable. So it's not really a relevant question 99% of the time. Oh yeah, and because it has command overlap, because he's a charge character, he's got command overlap with EX slash punch when he does that, which is kind of annoying. Little problem with Balrog. But you mostly just use it to recover stun and get the opponents to stop pressuring. And it's only -2, so it's not like really unsafe. When I see that animation, I always act like it's unsafe in my head. I'm like, oh man, punish this. But it's just because I've been trained by other games. It was pretty safe in ST, and it's unsafe as fuck in Street Fighter 4. It's one of the most unsafe reversals in the whole game. I think I should change the motion of the reversal. I don't know what they should change it to, but they should change it. It's like bad right now. There's too much command overlap. If only they could make it up plus punches for Balrog, that would be so useful. Even that would be kind of shit. There's nothing good. If they could make it like back plus maybe like light punch and hard punch and hard kick. That'd be like fine. Like hard punch and hard kick while blocking. That'd probably be good. Like medium kick and hard punch. That's what it needs to be. It needs to be something you'd never do on accident. It's stupid. I pretty much said everything I've meant to say about Balrog. Just to go over his combos really quickly. Low short target combo. It's like your go-to low combo. Go-to conversion from like low short into like super would be something like low short, low jab, medium dash punch into super. Go-to EX would be something like low short, low jab into EX dash punch. EX is worth it in that instance. Isn't worth it in other instances. Um, Go-to punish would probably be something like this. I've been doing that a lot. Crouch hard punch, hard screw smash into light dash punch. You could also do a stand hard kick combo, which would be something like that, unless the opponent was crouching. In which case it'd be something like that. The low is usually preferred because it gets the knockdown. And you can also, if you want to convert that to super, you'd probably do medium screw smash if you could help it. Kapow. But if the opponent was crouching, you just do medium straight. And the damage loss is not super significant, although it is noticeable. Go to V trigger combos. A common activation is that the low target combo into stuff. I like totally missed that follow up. That kick follow up into stuff. Stand hard kick I guess works. That one you don't see too often. You can actually do this. I didn't show this off, but this is pretty cool. Counter hit on. If I get like a far counter hit with that, you can actually do like counter hit that into dash in close medium kick. And then you can do, crouch fierce into stuff. That's like that's like your go-to ranged conversion. It looks pretty cool and it's not that hard to do. I've never seen anyone pull that out, but like theoretically it's useful. So I think I'll eventually see it. He can get thrown out of everything. He literally doesn't have, I should mention that, that's worth mentioning. Everything he has is throwable except super. So enjoy getting tossed. Yeah, V-skill is throwable too. Literally everything's throwable. A lot of stuff it's not too scary. Like yeah, you can get thrown out of this, but no one's going to throw for this most of the time. But you can't use it as a reversal or anything like that. It is throwable. Everything's throwable. The only thing that's not throwable is super. Super's the only reversal. The only true reversal for Balrog. And super's a pretty good reversal. I should have mentioned that. Let me just mention that. I mean, I've kind of been showing off super, but I never actually talked about super. But super is good as a combo ender. It combos from dash straights and from screw smashes. And it also combos from V-trigger punch follow-up. But the one other thing it's really notable for is this. This is actually super important, and I wish I'd showed it. I wish I'd remembered to talk about it sooner. Kapow. It punishes fireballs pretty much guaranteed. It works from almost every range on the screen. And it hits very quickly, so it'll catch even fireballs with really fast recovery. It's really good. It's one of the best fireball punishes in the game. It's like up there with like Kami super as a fireball punish. You can just do it really easily on reaction. Pretty nice. I don't think you can super cancel his V-skill follow-ups or anything though. That would be nice. What else about super? It's a reversal. You can end combos with it. It goes through fireballs, and it also goes through every other attack in the game. So, I guess you could use a jump cancel dash punch as a throw invincible reversal, but that sounds like ass. But it would theoretically work. Good luck ever using that. That's like some third strike tech. Third strike has a lot of pre-jump frames, so you can do pre-jump into stuff pretty easily. If you super jump in third strike, you have like 7 jump startup frames, and you can cancel any of them into special moves. You can punish jumps. Yeah! You can punish jumps with it. It anti-airs. I didn't mention that. Let's talk about like anti-air super just briefly. It's actually super tall. It's taller than it looks. You can anti-air with it pretty reliably. Kapow. That was not a crazy example. I could get crazier examples than that. It works from pretty close too, but it especially works from really far. Kapow. But if someone jumps from really far away, you can like punish their jump with a super, like from almost anywhere on the screen, which is kind of nice. That was a true punish, even if you didn't hit a button. I did it kind of late too. You could do it sooner. Pretty much if you see the opponent leave the ground, you can just super at about this timing when they get to the height of their jump, and it's reliable, which is nice. You can actually catch back jumps with it pretty reliably. Balrog is a big guy. It's not really mentioned very much, but Balrog is really tall, and he's also really muscular. It's kind of weird looking at him next to... Yeah, like Ryu is like decently sized. He's like bigger than some of the Street Fighters, and and Balrog just makes him look like a manlet. Balrog's pretty hunched too. He's got bent knees, got bent shoulders. When he's like walking backward, you can see just how tall he is because he's standing almost up fully upright. Makes Ryu look really short. Let's see if we can get Ryu relatively upright and Balrog relatively upright. Yeah, Balrog's like tall enough to put his chin on Ryu's head. Pretty big guy for us. I guess you could do stuff like that. You usually want your V-trigger combos to leave the opponent standing until the V-trigger activation because that lets you get crutch face into hard screw smash, which is nice. And even when you have a crouching opponent, hard screw smash still works there because crouch forces stand. I think stand strong doesn't force stand, but I really wish that it did because that would be cool. Ah, that would be cool. Did they forget? That was like a change in like AE 2012 or something. It might have been Ultra. And they just reverted it. Thanks, Capcom. Yeah, I think crouch face is all he's got in terms of force stand. It's a shame. I'm out of things to say about Balrog. I guess I'm done. I said I was going to do 2 tonight, but it's already 3 a.m. and if I do another one, it'll be like 5 a.m.